Some years ago, I found myself with hundreds of other young religious, male and female, with our Holy Father, by now Saint John Paul II, on this day, carrying a candle and renewing my engagement to the Lord. He had made this day a day for the consecrated. It was a beautiful sight, all these young flames about to be consumed in a life of self-sacrifice, gratuitous praise, and also light for others. The whole message of the self-sacrificing candle. It gives its life in light and heat. He was already failing, but he gave us a beautiful meditation on the cantico of Simeone, reminding us that we would always say that, or sing it, at the end of each day that the Lord gave us, until we sang it the last time. And his last time came actually quite a few years after that. He lived a very long time. One thinks then of all those who have sung this canticle and have met the Lord beyond the veil. Actually, this canticle is very widely used. We share it with our Anglican brethren, for in the evensong service, elements of Vespers and Compline are combined. And that evensong on a Sunday evening is a beautiful service. Perhaps we ought to retrieve Vespers in our Western rite as a rite self-sufficient, a celebration of evening, renewing Our Lady's praise, Magnificat. Gratuitous praise we need. In their tradition, they combine it also with a sermon. And I noticed when I was sent to Rome in 1975 to study in Rome a little bit and in Greece, that in St. Peter's on a Sunday evening they had made of Vespers a self-sufficient service. It was good to see. This was after the council, and the council fathers wanted that the divine office be opened also up to the people. We don't exploit that potential, do we? And if we do, oftentimes all we do is recite it. The divine office by nature is celebratory, just gratuitous effort to burn well for the Lord, not just get through a duty. Enjoying the benefit of angelic praise, for our life on earth is a counterpart of the heavenly liturgy, and the Lord deserves not the minimum, but the maximum. It makes a big difference if we sing or say an office. The angels are pleased to hear melody on earth, but that is one thing we share with them. We have not lost all at Eden. One thing we have with the blessed still is the joy of music. One thinks of all the deaths that one has witnessed or been close to. Just this morning a message came from the sister of a lady I had just prepared for death the other day. She should not actually have been. Her twin sister did not survive birth. She was tiny, 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 not expected one little bit to survive. The Lord gave her at least 90 years of what? Regular prayer. She was known as the Lady of the Rosary in her town. Now, when it came to preparing her, it was not possible to get through to her because she was already in a coma. But then I saw, actually, that preparation for death is not just the last moment, it's every day. And the only safe preparation is to live this day as though it were the last. Then it will be well lived. And by the way, danger can actually be a grace in disguise. The pandemic, if it's received in its potential, can heal us, bringing us back to the essential and putting us before the reality. It might be an invitation to simplification and essentiality. I heard once that at Dunkirk there were no atheists. And listening to the testimony of Faye Tucker in Australia, I saw there how actually to know the day of one's death because of a sentence of execution can indeed be a help to getting to heaven. In prison in 1957, Jacques Fesch, to be guillotined, had a great grace, made even greater by the fact that he knew what was ahead. We don't think about it, usually, do we? And what people tend to do, if we're honest, is to avoid the issue, push it away. Well, the pandemic helps us not to do that. If one is next to a person really dying, one begins to see things really as they are. I remember in Rome, first time round, things weren't working out because of the problems back home in the monastery in Ireland. And I remember hearing that my novice master, way back Carthusian days, who by the way was called Don Simeone, his feast therefore in a way, was petering out. Don Augustin, who was helping me actually with my thesis to distance a little bit, was next to him, bearing him, nursing him. And I sent a letter to Don Augustin saying that if he could give a message to Don Simeone as he died, just this, that David wanted to be a priest and he was having a job, if he could recommend that to Don Simeone. He wrote back to me sometime later saying that Don Simeone had had a moment of lucidity in which Don Augustin had said that to him, and in his words, it had been his last pastoral joy. And very quickly after that, things became unstuck, or rather, what was completely messed up became completely healed by some miraculous intervention. Some time ago here in Ireland, there was a row over the bequeathing of family property to one brother. Another brother and the father got against this brother and something went hugely wrong. The details I forget, but I believe that there were shots fired and that both the father and one of the brothers eventually in the process shot themselves. And I thought to myself, compared with these other deaths, prepared for over a life, is that the best way to sing one's Nunc dimittis? There is little time between pulling a trigger and meeting one's judge to make an act of contrition. We don't know, God's mercy is infinite, but we know it's not wise to play with all eternity. anni fa eravamo a Roma, giovani consacrati, con la luce in mano, ascoltando il nostro Santo Padre Giovanni Paolo, che faceva una meditazione sul Nunc dimittis, in questa festa dei consacrati, che lui stesso ha voluto orientata in questa direzione. E ci ha raccontato che tutti avremo questa preghiera alla fine della giornata, fino alla morte, che per lui era un po' vicina. E sarebbe anche una grazia da chiedere di venire bene la giornata come se fosse l'ultima. Se dormiamo in pace, rischiamo di non perdere la pace eterna quando si tratta dell'ultima notte della vita. Abbiamo conosciuto tante anime, anche preparate tante anime per l'incontro, il Nunc dimittis. Però non tutti sono preparati. E una volta ho avuto uno shock quando mi hanno chiesto di preparare una persona alla morte in una casa di riposo. 2 infatti in quel giorno, uno era ben preparato e l'altro ho visto subito reagire contro il sacro. E uno si chiede, il Nunc dimittis in quel caso come sarà cantato? Si presume che ci sarà un indomani. Ma l'unica maniera di essere sicuro è di vivere questa giornata come fosse l'unica e l'ultima dell'eternità. Magnificat anima mea Domino, et exultavi spiritus meus, in Deo Salvatore meo, quia respectit humilitatem ancilli sue, et genim ex obliata medice omnes generationes, quia fecit mihi maniaque potens est, ex sanctum nomen eius, et misericordia eius in progenies et progenies, tementibus eum, fecit potentiam in brachius suum, dispersit superbos mente cordis sui, reposuvit potentes de sede, et exaltavit humiles, et orientes implevit bonis, et divites de misericordis, suscepit Israel puerum suum, recordatus misericordiae, sic ut locutus est ad Patres nostros, Abraham et semine eius in saecula. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sic ut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum.